Judging by the clock, it was less than a minute before the bell. Catherine's desk was empty. I turned to Michael, whose seat was next to hers. Did Catherine, the new girl, go somewhere? Don't know, I wasn't really paying attention. Why? Never mind, no reason. Upset, I took my seat. Could she have somehow noticed that I've opened her notebook? No, she couldn't have. Catherine was absent from the classroom at the time. Did someone tell her? When did she leave? I'm telling you, I don't know. Do you mean the new girl? I think she went to see the principal. A classmate overheard our conversation. Thanks. I wanted to rush after her so much that the chair was virtually burning under me. But why? What would I tell her? The bell rang and my feet carried me to the door by themselves, past the teacher and out into the corridor. Here we go again. I ran around the corner and stopped. What the hell was I doing? Why all this? The school became silent, frozen in awe before the inescapable might of pure knowledge. I was slowly creeping through the empty corridors towards the principal's office. If I were to run into some teacher now, I would have to explain myself all over again. On the other hand, arriving at his office on my own would be in no way better. And there it was. I pressed my ear to the door, but it was silent on the other side, which either meant that Catherine and him were playing the silent game or that she wasn't there. So what should I do now? It was too late to return to the class. I wandered through the corridors and didn't even notice the point when I ended up in the old wing. Our school opened right after the war and was rebuilt many times, with new buildings being added as old ones fell into decay. If you were to ask me, this was uneconomical. Now, if they had torn down the old buildings to build the new ones in their place, theoretically there shouldn't have been anyone in this wing, but I suddenly hear music. A guitar. The sound was coming from what, judging by the inscription on the board, was the old music classroom. I opened the door slightly. Ha! If it wasn't Ellie Kobayashi. I certainly didn't expect to see her, of all people, here. But she was playing great, the melody was pleasant and the execution good. I did understand a thing or two about music after all. And she herself seemed to be glowing with happiness at the moment, as if she wasn't the mannered princess who I ran into this morning in the principal's office. Alright, lyrical digressions are all fine and dandy, but I certainly could not let such a chance slip by. Now, who do we have here? The guitar went abruptly silent and the serene silence was disrupted only by my applause. Ojo-sama, I didn't know you played the guitar as well. Embarrassment, surprise, annoyance, resentment, all those emotions were flitting across her face. You, please pay no attention to me, continue. You, what are you doing here? I have been following the song of a beautiful siren and couldn't even imagine it would be you, Oju-sama. Enough! Ellie blurted out, stood up abruptly and froze, as if not knowing what to do next. Come now, don't take this the wrong way. I just didn't think you'd be someone who plays guitar. I simply don't associate this instrument with you. No, now the violin, for instance. I play violin too. She interrupted me. Really? Well, that's cool. And why aren't you in class? You can probably guess why, but why are you skipping yours? I'm not skipping, we've got a break. Alright. I grinned. You don't have to make excuses to me of all people. I'm not making excuses, and you should watch your behavior. What were you doing at the principal's this morning? I came for a tea. In any case, it's none of your business. I didn't want to be rude, but that's how it ended up sounding. It actually is, seeing as I'm the granddaughter. I'm aware. She gave me a surprised look. What's wrong? Is it a secret? No, not a secret, of course. Even so. At this moment I heard voices from behind the door. Hide! Ellie whispered, agitated. Why? You're on a break and I'm used to it, I said caustically, but did lower my voice. She did not reply but only looked at me with pleading eyes instead. She probably had her reasons. Hide, do not hide, hide, do not hide. Save point. Okay, I think we should play along and hide. Yeah. Very well, but I don't see anywhere here that we could hide. In here! Ellie grabbed my hand and dragged me over to the small door that escaped my immediate notice. A narrow storeroom was hidden behind it. You mean just like that? For a moment I froze. There definitely wasn't enough room for two. Get in already! However, she clearly thought otherwise, literally pushed me inside and then followed. Great, we were now packed in like sardines. And this place reeked. However, the stench of dampness, dust and decay was being drowned out by the aroma of Ellie's perfume. A truly killer combination. The door opened and several people walked in. I think I heard something. You must have misheard, Kijima-sensei. Kijama-sensei. The principal was talking to one of the teachers. I'm not hearing things. I am old, of course, but still more than capable. Heavens no, Kijima-sensei, I didn't mean anything of the sort. And anyway, this ramshackle place is long overdue for being demolished. A third voice joined the conversation. This ramshackle place, as you called it? The principal let out a sigh so loud I could hear it clearly even from inside the storeroom. I remember coming here as a young teacher right after the war, exchanged the rifle for a pointer, you could say, and chalk sticks replaced rounds. It appeared we had quite a sentimental principal. I shifted my gaze toward Ellie. She had turned red like a boiled lobster, her breathing growing rapid and faltering. This was not the best situation. Even if she played the guitar, it still didn't mean she'd be very experienced with, well, you know. But who was I to judge? Certainly, I had been going out with Catherine already and even managed to get used to her, but here was a completely different girl in front of me. Oh, never mind, in front, she was rubbing against me. My heart began beating faster, I gulped loudly. Ellie raised her frightened eyes towards me. I made a face that, in my opinion, meant quiet. She seemed to understand. Meanwhile, the principal continued to elucidate. And after all of that you say, this is our cultural heritage, it should be made into a museum. Certainly, Kijama-sensei, now let's go, we have a meeting coming up. Yes, forgive me, it seems I got carried away. The moment that the door closed behind them, Ellie bursts out of the storeroom. I stepped out behind her. I had to say something. It had been a bit tight there. She looked at me woozily. Tight? Tight? You pervert! You groped me everywhere. I didn't even touch you. Groped me with your eyes then. I could see it and feel it. Calm down already, would you? How could I grope you with my eyes? And it was your idea to hide there in the first place. Yes, but enough said. A sad expression crossed Ellie's face and she lowered her gaze. It's unfitting for a young lady to behave like this, isn't it? She smiled sadly. Well, I'm not the best person to give advice in these matters, but if you were to ask me, I'd say there is nothing wrong with playing the guitar. You must like music a lot, right? Yes. This time her smile was genuine. Then I don't see a problem. A bell sounded in the distance, signaling the start of the break. Alright, I've gotta go. See you! And the parting smile she shot me was utterly disarming. I was left standing alone in an empty music classroom of the school's old wing. What a strange girl. Meanwhile, because of this entire musical story, I completely forgot why I ended up here in the first place. I was looking for Catherine. I had absolutely no desire to head back to the class where I could accept another scolding. Simply skipping would have been one thing, but running out the classroom right in front of the teacher? No, thank you. I managed to slip out of the school unnoticed, and here I was, already free at the wind, walking down a sidewalk of one of Tokyo's central districts. I simply wanted to have some rest. The whole day had already gone to pot. The only thing I achieved was finding out that the note from yesterday hadn't been written by Catherine. The note. Unpleasant thoughts crept into my head. But if it hadn't been her, then who? Was it a joke or hoax? What if it wasn't? Just what's been going on with me for the past day and a half? More things happened in the span of time than during the past year and a half. For that entire period I had only been socializing with Himitsu. Well, Kyosuke as well, maybe, and sometimes Michael. And now we had Kagome, Ellie, and then Catherine's return. What next? Am I going to become a magical girl? Oh, maybe. As if by chance I ended up near a familiar bar. A couple rounds of beer were an absolute must right now. I'd relax, clear my head. There weren't many people inside, which made sense. Everyone should be either at work or at school at this time. Like in that joke about a hurricane and a 3-story building. I don't get it. Even though I was known here, I still had a fake passport prepared, acquired a while ago with the help of a classmate whose father worked in a government body. Many of my school students had passes into the adult life like this one. Proving if it's real or not wasn't particularly easy, and a document is still a document, especially when someone's showing it in your face. Not to mention the owner of this place was a Russian as well. While chuckling, we would tell stories of his past as a pirate and how his ship sank near Japanese shores. It was a lie, of course. He was most likely an immigrant, same as my parents. I sat down at the counter and ordered a mug of beer. Oi, Kolya, hello. You're early today. Yeah, it just kind of ended up this way. Will you be fine at school? You know that they're harsh about it here. I snickered nervously. Oh, I see, none of my business. Being a good psychologist is part of the bartending profession as well. The beer was poured into half-liter mugs here, which brought me unspeakable joy. Downing small glasses in one gulp and then squealing from pleasure? Blah. I took a large draught. Catherine came back. The bartender raised his eyebrows and asked with genius surprise, "And what are you gonna do now?" Sometimes it seemed to me that showing sympathy for his clients was more than a professional habit to him. What can I do? She has no burning desire to talk, and neither do I. Well, at least I certainly have no intention of fawning over her. And why is she back? 'Cause of her mother's work, I think. She couldn't come back alone, would she? Most likely not. Well, now I have some bullshit on my hands. You know how they say, life is like a zebra, a black stripe, a white stripe, then a black one, then a white one again. Yeah, and then comes the asshole. And even I laughed. You know what, Kolya? Cheer up, he said encouragingly. You still have your whole life ahead of you, and the two of you will get together 100 times over, and if not, you'll just find yourself another girl. Look how many of them are walking around. The bartender spread his arms, and the few schoolgirls nestled at a table in the furthest corner of the room gave us slightly frightened looks. Thanks, great comforting words. And besides, there's lots of things other than that. Life is full of swing. All of it against your head. Honestly, is he hiding a dictionary of sayings and proverbs under the counter? The bar's door flew open and the group of young people entered. I immediately recognized yesterday's delinquents among them and reflexively buried my nose in the mug. Was I scared? It seemed like it. They sat down at a table and ordered beer and cocktails for the girls. You know them? The bartender asked quietly, leaning in toward me. I wouldn't say I know them, but we've met. I gave them the occasional sidelong glance. Should I get up and leave? Would it seem like cowardice? Cowardice? To whom? They didn't even notice me. The moment that thought crossed my mind, one of the guys got up and walked over to the counter. Hey, I know you. If you say so. I said as calmly as possible without even sparing him a glance. It seems like you don't know who you're dealing with, Gaijin. I'm not dealing with anyone. So it wasn't you who pushed my friend's face in yesterday? Maybe it was me, but he deserved it. Really? How about we go out and have a little talk? I looked at the bartender, but he only shrugged. Sympathy for the clients, damn it. Let's go then. What else could I do? Half a minute later, we were standing in an alley behind the bar. A couple older guys joined the school kids. Where did they even come from? What, not so tough now, are you? Said the one I punched yesterday. That'll teach you to stand up for horse. I looked at the girl. Compared to her, Kagome was Mother Teresa. So, what next? You gonna give me a beating? 4 against 1? I have to say, much respect. What about the code of honor? The Yakuza have one. I grinned at the largest guy among them. You for one, have the mug of a complete bandit. The older thugs clenched their teeth, their expressions changing. What did you say? Let's get out with it already. A thought flashed through my mind. Should I strike first? Doing that at least would leave me with a smidgen of self-respect. But I had no time to make a decision, as a strong blow to my back threw me to the ground. How cowardly. Their blows hit hard, but they did not go on for long. I curled into a ball, covering my head with my arms. It hurt,